James.
Raf.
Everyone would love to hear this. This is our fourth studio, but technically like our second.
Yeah, we're coming home.
Yeah, we're coming. Well, not home because originally we had the glass table, remember?
Yeah, a lot of people hated that.
They hated the glass table. We got rid of that. Then we had the one where this one we used to talk about our coffee a lot.
Yep.
I think.
Yep. Because we used to pound 6 beers and then get a piccolo.
That's right. And there was something else with this one, some other vague meme that people. Oh, the hard drive, the spinning disc hard drive, the home of the spinning disc hard drive. That was a good running.
The real
bit.
heads would be loving this. The people who have perhaps tuned in for the first time would be thinking, this podcast is not for me.
And yeah, exactly. Then we moved to Newtown. Then we moved to my shed. Now we're back at number 2.
Exactly. It's been a saga, folks. But the whole reason we're doing it is because we would like to put our videos on YouTube.
That's right. So especially in the early days when like the algorithm doesn't trust us and love us yet, you have to go on. You have to go on there, hit pause right now, and then watch it, and then say, comment. Who here watching this in 2027?
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, today's episode we're talking about, actually it's kind of a fun one. It's been like a weird little scandal that's popped up over the past couple of weeks.
I think it's more than fun. I think that it's very interesting.
It's
philosophical.
It goes to the very heart of what it means to be human.
Well, yeah, I'm serious. Who made what? Who makes things? I made this. It's back to the I made this.
I made this. Did you? I don't know. Let's find out. So basically, and also it brings in another favourite down round topic, the European Union.
That's right. Okay, we're talking about AI watermarking. AI companies being able to put in their outputs a way for you to then
to tell that it's
to verify that it's AI generated. This was made by AI.
Yeah. So the idea that any piece of content on the internet that you find, you should be able to test, drop it into like a Anthropic provided checker or whatever, and find out that this was created with AI.
This is what we're talking about today. So the European Union, what's the go? What's going on?
So basically, the European Union, I'm going to make sure I've got the title of the legislation correct. It's from Article 50 of the EU AI Act that they passed.
Thank you for letting us know that.
Absolutely. Which basically says that providers of generative AI, image, audio, video, text, have to mark outputs in a machine-readable format that's detectable as AI generated. And a lot of this came down from like deepfakes and political propaganda and people having illegitimate photos of them distributed or whatever. And the EU, regulatory superpower that it is, has said, you've got to do this. We don't care how you do it, but you've got to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, Google has been doing this for a while.
Yeah, Synth ID.
It's a thing called Synth ID. And basically that means that encoded into every output from Nano Banana, which is Google's image generation thing, or text from Gemini.
And video and music, and even music.
Is these invisible watermarks. No one's really complained about it in the past. Well,
no.
I mean, some people have.
Well, here's what I want to get to. I think that people are kind of fine with it with media stuff, but people are complaining because it's applying to text. I think the text thing is the thing that's making people blow up.
I think you're right.
So first, should I explain exactly how, at least I am aware of it working, how I understand it to work?
Just to add on, the thing that's freak people out is that Anthropic is doing it.
Yes.
Because Claude has now said they're going to do it. OpenAI is bound by this legislation and has signed some agreement or some like open, not an open letter, but something like that, which said they're going to do this. But everyone is freaking out because Anthropic is doing it with Claude, and Claude is the main model that people use for like outputting text and writing shit these days.
Yeah.
So anyway, go on. Yes.
I can explain 100% with music, but I think it's basically the same thing, and I can explain with text as well to a certain extent.
Yep.
So with music, basically what it does is, if you can imagine like an audio wave, like when you see a visualization of audio, it's those, the peaks and troughs of these spikes. It will do something like, there'll be some pattern that might occur where at 444 hertz, it's 6 dB less than 445 hertz. And it's doing that every kind of 10 hertz or whatever it is every second, blah, blah, blah. And we've actually, I've been able to muck around playing with the same audio that's been synth ID'd and not synth ID'd, and then you can inverse the phase, blah, 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 and you can actually see what synth ID looks like, and you can actually hear what it's doing and what it's taking away. But to the human ear, you can't hear that because it's like you can't tell the difference between 2 hertz, right? Like if they're just removing 1 hertz when the rest of it is fine, the human ear can't perceive it. There'd probably be audiophiles who are paying $1,000 for HDMI cables or whatever, who would
the gold-plated cables. Yep,
they would suggest that they can hear that.
Yep,
but
they're liars.
They're liars. This is the same people. 320 is fine, guys. 320 MP3s are fine with words, and this is the important thing. I feel like this is the big deal. This is what's freaking everyone out.
Yes,
with words, my understanding is it's something like there are 2 buckets of words. They put it like all the possible outcomes that the next word could be into 2 buckets, red and green. And the LLM will choose in watermarking, it should be 50-50. Like an output should be 50-50, but it'll tweak it so that actually 55% end up in red. It'll select tokens, not even words. It'll select tokens slightly more. Like it's slightly more likely to be in the red bucket than the green bucket means that it has to be AI because by turning the knob that much. So it is actually changing the output of the words. It will change the words selected.
Which is, canny because, this isn't a case of like there's some digital Unicode thing that gets embedded into the text. Like it is in the actual word choice itself.
Yeah.
So if you copy a chunk of text from the Claude Mac app and you move it and you post it on LinkedIn, as millions of people are doing each and every day, the trace goes with it because it's actually embedded into the writing itself.
If you rewrite it, if you retype the whole thing, as in word for word, it will still be in there.
It'll still be in there. Just to reiterate for the slow kids at the back of the class, obviously, LLMs are probabilistic. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, or the lazy and dog is extremely high for the next one. That's an obvious sentence. But the sky was overcast versus the sky was grey. This is actually one of the examples that Anthropic themselves used on their website. And they say for the reader, it doesn't matter whether it's overcast or grey. A lot of people freaked out about that because they say it does matter. They mean 2 different things.
Yeah.
As you say, yes. Because across the body of the text, it weights 55 to 45% or whatever, you're able to detect that text was created with Claude. Now, a lot of people heard that and their first response was, how dare you?
Yes. It's really funny to me, the entire thing. I want to start with like the backing behind the law because I think that it does kind of make sense. Like you can see the logic of images and video. We want a way to immediately be like, oh, it's AI, and like Facebook can market as AI and the social media platforms can market as AI so that much like with media literacy, when people are told something is fake news, they totally change their opinion on it.
Yeah.
No, but point being like you can see how it's like, ideally, it stops a rumor in its tracks because people can identify straight away that it's AI. Okay, fine. Even with that, it's going to become trickier, especially as we talked about last week with Google's Omni models where you can edit one thing. I have been in a video that was run through Google's Omni model because someone was removed from the background using the AI. That would come out as like an AI video.
Yep.
So there is like some things that's like, as kind of tools like that become more ubiquitous, like, in 10 years' time, not even in 5 years' time, people are probably going to be using AI tools to like tidy up shots and stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So there is that to bring up. But regardless, I do understand that the purpose of the regulation to like have a way to make sure that audio, images, and video are verifiable. Words is kind of harder, I think, to justify.
Yeah. First of all, I saw massive backlash to this on LinkedIn of all places. Yes, people were talking about on X because they talk about everything AI on X and you can't log on to X/Twitter without seeing people talk about AI or complaining about AI or freaking out about AI.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn, I looked on there and there were so many posts, largely from people in like the content/marketing.
Yeah.
People who are very clearly using it in a day-to-day basis to various levels, generating copy or whatever, freaking out. And the 2 things that they freak out about, specifically about the copy, because you're right, I don't think anyone's really whinging about the images and video, because I think enough people are kind of bummed out from seeing fake videos that they're sort of like, maybe this is good.
Yeah.
But on text, people get really mad about it. And the 2 reasons are, one, this is going to make the output worse because they're putting more effort into making it identifiable than making it good.
Yeah.
Right? So there's that. And the second one is, what if I just use it for copy editing? What if I just use it for feedback?
Yeah.
And I've changed a sentence based on what it's told me. Am I going to be hit with the scarlet letter
Yeah, the
of
scarlet
having
letter.
used AI when I only use it lightly.
Yeah, and I want to add a third though as well, which
Yeah.
I think is more interesting. Is more like
Those bloody Eurocrats.
sure, but
Yeah.
no, the attribution in general, and like who made it and what
Yeah.
it means, and like I think that is a fascinating conversation, which maybe we can
get
leave
into
to the end. On number one, what was number one?
That it makes the output worse.
That is an interesting one, and I want to know how well it works in code.
Yeah, the code one is interesting because
I do know there are obviously various ways to do things. There are various ways to name functions and what have you. Like, does it still work in code? Is it making your code worse than what the optimal output would be? Is it I use code as the example because obviously that still applies to writing. That is a little bit weird that it's like, in order to satisfy, and this is kind of an important thing, people's desire to know whether text is AI or not, it's making the output not optimal, like suboptimal.
Possibly suboptimal.
Possibly suboptimal. I mean, it does though, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe it's like imperceivably suboptimal, but it is making it like slightly suboptimal.
Yeah.
And maybe even before we get into that though, it's like, what is the benefit of identifying AI writing, of like being able to put something through and seeing if it's AI? I get maybe you could pull like fraud, like so that the chatbot you're talking to or whatever is AI and not a person maybe or whatever. And sorry, and I should say this is coming from a person who I feel like I can spot AI writing pretty well.
Well, this is the other thing.
And B, like when I'm reading something and I realize halfway through or a little bit through that I'm reading AI writing, I do feel a little bit cheated. I'm like, oh, well, what's the point? Like, you haven't put in effort, whatever.
Why bother?
And which is going to contradict something I'm probably going to say later in the episode. So, but I bring that up now to say, like, does that even weigh up? Does compromising the output?
Yeah.
Like, what is the benefit?
Well, this is what a lot of the argument has been, and both Anthropic said in their like quasi blog / paper or whatever it is they published, they were like, it doesn't affect it.
Well, they have to say that.
Obviously, they have to say that, yes.
Because like you don't want then X to AI to be able to say like ours doesn't do that, therefore it's better.
Yeah.
Our outputs are better because we're not putting the equivalent
and Google
of
said
SynthID.
the same thing. SynthID doesn't reduce the quality of the text.
Yeah.
And I think OpenAI even said it about their own particular model. I will actually mention there is another motivation I think that is like in the background here that's not just the EU, that I think Anthropic certainly, and probably the other labs as well, want to know at some point like how far their models are getting. Like if they can find traces of Claude-generated text in weird places, like secure systems, wherever else, it'll be easier to identify like where their models have been.
Yeah.
And I think that's like at least partial motivation.
Well, I think there's potentially, and maybe this is not openly discussed, like a marketing angle to it as well.
Yeah.
And this gets back to the, attribution question. What we're effectively doing, again, I want to get into it more later, what we're effectively doing is saying, Claude wrote this.
Yeah.
Regardless of all the stuff that happened before it.
Yep.
Regardless, as you say, whether it's being used for copy editing, which we'll get in a second. Claude wrote this. Anthropic wrote this. They own this.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. Like, it's their IP, especially when you start talking about distillation and whatnot.
That actually, I think, is the other one as well. I think that it's like a counter distillation move. Again, in part. Obviously, they're being mandated by the EU, but I think this is one way that Anthropic's going to be able to point at DeepSeek or Kimi and whatever and be like, look,
it's
literally outputting our SynthID.
Yeah.
Because it's been trained or refined or RLHF'd off our outputs.
Yeah.
And now look, stone cold, Mr. Trump banned these models.
Exactly.
So I think that's part of the story, but it doesn't really explain. I mean, that's all very technical and that's all geopolitical and that's, business logic stuff. But the fact that everyone's arced up about it, because obviously there is a massive backlash to AI writing, generally speaking.
Yes.
I mean, there's a certain threshold of it that I think people tolerate, right? There's certain kinds of like writing that was slop before and it's slop now.
Yeah.
And it's annoying when you get it. When I get an AI-generated pitch from a PR, I go, ugh. But I don't go, this person has transgressed. Because it's like, well, if you didn't slop that out, you would have just written dog shit anyway.
Yeah.
Literally your only motivation is for me to open the email and be like, well. So whatever, right? There's a lot of chum. There's a lot of shitty writing that is, not intended to be read and enjoyed. And
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, like meeting notes is a classic. It's
Meeting
like
note- yeah, exactly.
meeting notes. It's fine if you AI meeting notes.
if I ran someone's meeting notes through the Claude synth AI detector or ID detector, and it came up, you generated this in Claude, I'm not saying you get in there and write that again.
Write your own dot points.
But when it's an op-ed or something,
yeah, exactly.
you have the reaction that there's people who would just consider it immoral to have done that.
Yeah.
Right. That's not an insignificant portion of the population. They're like, you're a moron. You're cognitive offloading.
Yes.
You've whatever. So there's the scarlet letter and the feeling that some people have, and I think this is driving a lot of the negative reaction, potentially from people who are using it more than they disclose.
Yes. Well, I mean, we should get to the point 2 quickly first, because then I want to touch on that. We're going to have to do some real time looking up.
Yeah.
What's the matey Hank Green?
Yes.
Hank Green, but which we'll get into in a second.
Yes.
But the copy editing point we should tick off, because we did say there's 2 reasons, and then I said there's a third attribution, and then there's possibly a fourth. But regardless, so tick off copy editing. I agree that's pretty weird, and it kind of speaks to the attribution thing. If I write an article, and it then suggests a few different changes and words and restructures a sentence, and that comes out as all Claude. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on the amount that it changes.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think, based on what Anthropic are talking about, is that you will punch in a chunk of text into whatever their detector is, and it will say, this was written with Claude, this wasn't, and give you a granular read.
It can't.
It'll just say, this has the watermark.
Exactly.
So, I mean, maybe that's better in the sense that you can just be like, well, there's a trace of it. It's it's defensible. The other thing, we didn't mention it, but we should mention it. The tool that everyone else uses right now is Pangram.
Yeah. And
Pangram, there are tons of AI detectors online.
Yeah, yeah.
If you just search AI text
GPT-0.
there's a fucking million of them. For the most part, they're pretty bad. They look for M dashes. They look for words like delve or genuinely or whatever, and say, you've used these words a lot, whatever. Pangram is better. It's its own AI model that's trained on a shitload of organic and non-organic text. Their new model is pretty granular and pretty good. And it tries to go,
this was AI, this wasn't.
Yeah, it goes, this document is 66%. These chunks were. It's still not ultra precise, and but it gives you a good starting point to be like, this was used at the very least for, as you say, copywriting or generating or whatever else.
Yeah,
they're selling that to schools and whatever. Whereas Anthropic is just yay or nay. Does it have the mark? Does it have the watermark? But I think, there's a lot of people who are just viscerally reacting to this because they're on the one end of it, it's people who are I use this for copy editing. I use it to do structural edit pasts, whatever.
Yeah.
And am I going to be branded as someone who doesn't do work?
Yeah, branded being the operative word.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then on the other end, there are probably people who are I've been using AI to generate a lot of shit and I've been getting away with it. And my whole world is about to come crashing down.
Totally.
My wife's going to leave me.
Unless people start ubiquitously running this stuff through Claude detector or whatever,
no.
I don't, because as you say, right now you can run anyone's output through anything. And most of these people, especially the LinkedIn heads who are just using it to pump it out, you would be saying 100% AI, 100% AI on all of the current tools.
Yeah. I mean, LinkedIn is just replete with it. Yeah.
But let's get to that, the branding and the marketing, because that does feel to me to be a big part of the push here for it, when you ignore that, is it in the company's actual interest in order to integrate this into their own models, is yes, the, dare I say, witch hunt over, we should have a right to know if you dared sully my eyes with AI generated content of any sort, because that is immoral.
Yeah.
It is immoral that you would use it. And I should know, you should be branded, that you should walk the streets with shame written over your head.
You should
AI shame, AI shame.
There should be shame. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Which we've talked about this ad nauseum, but I think that this is a temporary vibe.
I think it is temporary, although I will say, and we've talked about this a couple of times on the pod, and I think you and I mentioned it the other day when you said you were using one of the new DeepSeek models or whatever, where it's the focus over the past 12 to 18 months with AI has been code. Code is what we're going after. We're doing our reinforcement learning and code is it. And if you're not winning in code, you're fucking losing.
Yeah.
Like your model is bad. And as a result, every model has gotten worse at writing.
Yes.
Claude used to be like the gold standard.
Yeah.
And I actually think a lot of the problems right now are the fact that at some point people got into their head Claude Opus or Claude Sonnet are really good at writing. The models have gotten fucking way worse under their feet.
Yeah.
And they've just kept doing it because they have no way of evaluating it.
It was surprising to me because I actually haven't been using a lot of the latest Claude models, but I've seen the discourse of like, this, what the hell? Why is it so bad at writing? I had to give it a skill to make it stop writing like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I started using DeepSeek, which is obviously
distilled from Claude.
It's got a fair bit of Claude in it, that I was like, what the fuck? This is like, it's unintelligible. Yeah, like intellectual babble, like just super verbose.
It's very verbose and dense and hard to read.
Super dense and hard to read.
I mean,
and I was like, oh my God, I get what people talk about. I thought people were just dumb.
No, it's not,
crazy.
It's not just that it's like over intellectual. It's just like dense and weird and not. People call it. What's the word that people use online? They call it neuralese. It's like a new language, and it literally reads like that.
Yeah, totally. Like you start reading it and you get totally lost straight away. It feels like everyone's hit like back in the day when you're writing an essay and you thought you were sounding smart in like, you know, year one of university, where you like right-click synonym to every single word to make it like the longest option.
Exactly. It does that. It uses like. There are certain words that it tells yes, like genuinely or whatever, but it's always like, and that's the load-bearing truth, and that matters because it's just like these weird stacked clauses on top of each other. And I feel like, my theory is that it does that because they have over-optimized for code to a crazy degree, and as a result, they've become smarter at that, like post-trained into being better at doing code, but they've also just become worse at the other stuff. And I think they will have to solve that because, like, one of the reasons people liked the Claude models is that they were nice to work with. Yeah. Like, they were very capable, but they were also, like, pleasant to back and forth with. These current ones are just, like, very unpleasant to talk to.
Totally. This is all in the post-training, right? Like, so much of these advances have been in the post-training. Is there a world where you just end up with two different models, or is that just too much too resource intensive?
I don't know. Or I just think everyone is sort of saying at the moment that, like, you know, we've kind of squeezed as much juice as you can get out of all this post-training stuff we've been doing, and we need to go back to the pre-training.
Everyone's doing
and do better data and all the rest of it. That's kind of like the current big discourse among all the AI types. So that's interesting. So I feel like a lot of this backlash has been just a bunch of people who didn't really realize the models are now shit at doing that, have kept doing it, and as a result, you look on the quality of LinkedIn slop now when they've all using Claude because they've been told that's the good one, and it's just like it's spitting out. Actually, great one. If you go to the AFR and look at the op-ed that Scott Morrison wrote last week.
Oh yeah.
He did one today that was slightly less so, but the one last week, which is about Strait of Hormuz or whatever, was just pure Opus 5 slop. And I was like, bro. So obviously, I doubt Sco even was barely across it being written. Yeah. He's got some guy at his consultancy.
I mean, he's also got staff for life, mate. He's the former Prime Minister.
Exactly. And that's what they're
Commonwealth
doing.
car, and you get a staff.
And this is what they're spending their time doing. I was reading it like, fuck, man. So someone needs to get to ScoMo staff and tell them.
We can tell, brother.
Wait. Don't do that. And this is the kind of, like, it's that structural stuff that apps like Pangram are picking up on. It's not the case of like, oh, it used the word genuinely too many times. It's this like predictable structure. So to me, I look at it and I go, we don't need a signature to see these outputs for what they are.
Well, my broader point is that I don't think it fucking matters. And I've said this before about everything. I've said this before about music and whatnot. Why does it matter if someone used AI or not? Like, judge it for the quality that it is. For me, as I said, like, when I start reading stuff that
you just go, this is bad.
I go, this is bad. I go, something twinks in my mind, and I'm like, that's a horrible construction. That's an AI construction, and now I'm seeing it again and again. And I'm seeing the same constructions happening again. And it's super annoying.
That's the tell.
It's just like, this is bad writing. And even if like I didn't know it was AI, I'd find it weird. Claude loves doing really like stilted, punchy, like short sentence.
It does
short sentence.
That's the biggest tell for Claude is that it always has a really short sentence at the beginning of each paragraph that's kind of like punchy and summarizes what you're about to say.
Yeah.
But it's never making a really strong point. It's just sort of a vague, and that's what matters. But here's the thing people miss.
Yes.
That's the one that you fucking set out all the time. Here's the thing people miss.
Yeah, it's shit like that. And I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yes, my knowledge that it's AI pisses me off. As I've said, I get that. Like, I do get that, you have that feeling that, like, oh, you haven't put enough.
This is a waste of time.
Yeah, this is a waste of time. You haven't put enough effort into this is kind of what I, like, innately feel. But I want to say, like, that shouldn't matter. You should just judge it on the quality of the writing. It doesn't matter to me if something came from, I just said it did, but like as in, it shouldn't matter if it came from AI or not. And I think this gets to the next point where it's like, if I've put heaps of different resources, I've gone back and forth with like Claude, OpenAI, Gemini, whatever, again and again to kind of refine, and then it leads to an output that I use some of and I reword some of. And but for the record, I don't do this with any of my writing. My writing is just, well, you could tell straight away reading it. It's like
it's slop.
It's
man slop.
It's human slop. It's fucking millennial slop.
It's unreadable garbage that people immediately recoil from. But they don't think that was made with AI. They think kill that guy.
No, it's gonzo. But my point being, I can say, like, what was the you reported on in Capital Brief, your FOI'd, which was like, write me a speech about...
Yeah, give me 1,000 words on X. Yeah.
Give me 1,000 words on,
the history of the political economy of the NDIS or whatever.
If you're going to bust it, if you're going to publish that, like, that's slop. But if someone has gotten a bunch of data that is specific to their angle, they've gone back and forth, said, here's my interpretation of that data, here's what I want to argue, find it for weaknesses, here's some more evidence, blah, 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 then has an output that they've then, like... tweaked, this, that, and the other. Like, those two things are different.
Yeah.
And, like, you could have a compelling Substack or whatever article that you've spent a long time kind of getting to that is 50% Claude generated or whatever it is with interesting ideas. And I do think it's a bit weird to just be like, AI slop for that.
Yeah. I mean, my thinking is, like, the models as they exist today, it kind of coheres because... I don't even think you can really get to that level without it being like a bit detectable.
Yeah, and annoying. That is the thing. It's like
the models as they exist today.
But you could probably get a 2-sentence interesting tweet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm
like, okay, fine, it's AI, but like you haven't just been like, give me a tweet about
and also at
immigration.
When it's a really short, unless you like go for the most obvious thing, really short bits of copy. It's normally you identify the patterns when you read something a bit longer, where it's 800,000 words.
And Claude has actually said that it's like short pieces of it might not detect.
It might not detect that. No. So I think the models as they exist today, it's detectable anyway. A lot of it is kind of generic slop. You've seen these sentence structures a lot. I guess the question becomes more valent when it's like, what if we're in 5 years from now? They've solved the pre-training problem. They've solved the post-training problem. Text that's outputted from leading edge models is like creative and interesting and you can't detect the patterns in it. Someone who says, generate me 1,000 words about X, and the next person says, generate 1,000 words about X, and it's probably drawing upon like all their embedded memory and tool use, and it genuinely does read really well. So, for example, I was reading as someone who said that OpenAI is really excited about their next model, and one of the things they're excited about is the fact that Astra or whatever it's called is the stuff that it outputs reads really well. Like it writes beautifully. And I've heard this many times about many models, but just theoretical future time where you can't distinguish AI text just by reading it.
Yeah.
That's when I think the question becomes a lot more interesting about watermarking.
I mean, sure. More interesting in what way?
More interesting in the sense that it's like no one would have detected it anyway. I don't think we're at that threshold right now.
No.
Where it's like someone would be able to tell this is slop.
But I think it's like it's more useless now. Maybe that's we're saying the same thing. I'm like, it doesn't really matter to me if something was made by AI or not, because for the most part, if it's bad, then I'll know it's bad. And so like whether it was AI bad or human bad, it doesn't matter.
I think we are saying the same thing. Because my advice is like, what if we get to a point?
What if it's all good?
What if it's all great? And like even the...
Yeah, see, what I don't like about that is, okay, so there again, like therefore Anthropic or OpenAI or whoever is taking credit for the writing in a way.
Yeah.
Do you know, like that? That's what kind of, and when I talk about like attribution, that's weird to me. That doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I mean,
But maybe the whole thing is socially, because if everyone's doing it for everything, then people no longer care that like something's AI generated. It's like, oh, everything's fucking AI generated in one way or another.
I also do think if we get to my hypothetical situation I just described, where it is indistinguishable from human text and is really good and no one can tell by reading it, we probably do have bigger problems.
Yes.
I feel like at that point, we're probably in like a as cringe as it is, a takeoff scenario. Where
well, yes and no, though. This is the thing that we always do with AI and computers in general. We go like, once we're at that point, well, it'll be so powerful. But it's like, I can see a world where, okay, because we've had like way more efficient chips and way cheaper, and potentially like the models themselves, like your personal model can actually like do some like fine tuning, like automatically on the fly fine tuning based on who you are, blah, blah, blah. And we can shove into the pre-prompt of every single thing, like 1 million tokens of like, all your previous writing and all your influences and all this kind of thing. And therefore, as you say, like two people asking the same question will get totally different writing. If like, I've got plenty of writing, you've got fucking shitloads of writing on the internet. If all of the writing you've ever done is put into the pre-prompt, but like every article, you're going to get a totally different output than I would. So like, I can see a world in like 3 or 4 years' time where the writing is much better, but basically because like it's so tweaked to every kind of user without us being in a takeoff situation.
Well, for me, it's not even a question of like, is it powerful and we're taking off. It's more like, at the moment, look at a popular tweet on X or a popular X post, whatever, and you look under it and there's 50 replies and immediately your brain is like, slop, 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 slop.
Oh, man.
Right?
Wait, try being posted on the @Google account and reading the comments.
Yeah, exactly.
It's insane.
Same with Instagram. It's all slop and you know immediately. Again, this is obviously just like swarms of bots. Which are using probably the cheaper models. I don't know what they're using as like the default, but I would imagine they're low-cost models. And it's always some annoying shit like describe like rewriting what the tweet was.
It's always just rewriting
with a few like fire emojis and like that's so whatever. But like imagine a world where like we're not even I shouldn't have said takeoff, but like we're not in a world where like AI has completely rewired the economy. But we're in a world where like you can look in the comments section and there's 50 comments and you just don't know if any of them are human. Like again, I know dead internet theory, very annoying, but like imagine a world where like that you are drowning in slop. Everything you read is artificial, but you just like you can't distinguish it. I think if we get to that point, we'll have figured out something else. That's probably not to do with like a synth ID or like a watermark. There'll be something else we're doing. Maybe it's related. But like I can see, looking at that, I'd be like, that's a bad outcome. But I don't think that's what people are freaking out about right now.
Yeah, I personally think that, we've talked about this before. The foresight that the Google founders had was there's going to be shitloads of web pages and we're going to need a better way to search through them and a better way to like index them and whatever. And like that has kind of always been the case with the internet. It's like there's a fountain of content, and like what Facebook algorithm, newsfeed algorithm and Instagram algorithm or whatever did was like, and YouTube for that matter, it's like there is so much shit posted to TikTok, Instagram, YouTube every day, but like the genius of the algorithm is that it finds the best ones for you. Like there are like, there's out of billions of options, it finds the ones that are entertaining. So you don't see any of the shit. And the same thing is kind of going to be true with content, right? Like it's kind of like the last one where and again, the platforms already do this. Like if you go on Facebook now or YouTube or whatever, it filters comments. And so I think that it'll be up to the platforms basically to like determine that. Or if you're interacting mostly with like AI, like up to the kind of AI to filter through to see what's meaningful and what's not. But it is true that like I think it would become less meaningful whether it was made by AI or not. I think that's a broad thing. It's like
I think it is, but for me, I mean, look at the situation right now. Even before you get to the watermarking, we didn't talk about it on the podcast, but it was like another like minor controversy that bubbled up. Substack integrated Pangram, so Substack partnered with Pangram. And you can see why, because it's like, for them, it's just like a content moderation issue, where it's like if a ton of our posts are sort of like spammy slop things on Substack, that reduces the quality of the platform.
Yeah, I think it's also a differentiation thing, right? It's like there are people who are looking for non-AI. They don't want to. They want to be on LinkedIn or whatever. And they can be certain that.
And there was a ton of it, and there was not just like people who have used it to generate an argument, but like ones that are just like straight up automated Substacks filled with just like pure Claude slop or whatever. So they wanted to get rid of that, but there are those. It caused a minor shitstorm. The argument you always hear from like that sort of community is like, English is my second language. I want to publish in English, but my English is not so good, so I use it to like clean up my writing or whatever. And fine, got it. But yeah, there was like this minor blow up, and it seems to have receded away. And then on the LinkedIn side, they have a lot of people were posting about as well. Every post, if you click on the 3 dots on LinkedIn, there's like a button now that is there's literally seems like AI slop. Because again, there would be guys sitting there in LinkedIn HQ being like, we're picking up a reputation as a place where like you don't read any insights. You just read like...
As opposed to their previous reputation.
Well, exactly. LinkedIn is one of those zones where it's like, I don't care whether it's AI or not, it's bad. This is bad stuff. And don't base your career decisions on reading this shit from content marketers. But I know, we're in this weird middle zone. The more I think about it, I do think there is a dimension of it where it's like once the door bursts open and like this agentic shit, you don't even have to be in like you don't even have to believe that AI is going to change the world to believe that there are going to be agentic models ping-ponging around the web, doing hacks and like leaving content everywhere and posting places.
Okay, here's something to consider.
Yeah.
I know we mentioned the Hank Green controversy, but I should very, very quickly mention that just because we said it up front. Very well-known science YouTuber.
Yeah, he's one of the classic bloggers. Him and his brother. Yeah, and John Green.
He responded to a comment on YouTube or something.
He said it in the video.
Oh, in the video, he said like, "Thanks for the feedback.
Thanks for the pushback.
Thanks for the pushback."
Which is that's something that AI says a lot, but
he has basically been dragged and cancelled and is taking time off to reflect on how he makes his content due to being witch hunted over using AI.
I found that whole thing so bizarre.
But this is just Zoomers, man. Like, or not, and sorry, it's younger. It's Gen Alpha or whatever.
No, it's definitely Zoomers.
And Gen Alpha.
Yeah, probably.
I spoke to some Gen Alphas
who like Hank Green.
No, who hate it.
Oh yeah, no, younger people hate it more than anyone else. I think a lot of that is like the specific audience that Hank Green and his brother John Green. Again, this is getting into fucking movies. They've been vlogging on YouTube since like 2005, right?
Yeah, and people feel betrayed.
And they've picked up a massive audience of particularly younger people or younger women as well. They do like quasi-intellect, like science communication. They do like cultural stuff, but like it's a very young audience, lots of young women, smack bang in like the AI hater quadrant, like Nexus in the quadrant. It's just their audience, not because of AI, just like demographically, essentially. So I never really. So he said, "Thank you for the pushback" live in a video. People accused him of using AI.
No, but he said that he does use AI as part of the research process.
Well, that was the thing that I was like, what is going on? Because he said, I didn't actually generate that, but you've started the conversation, and I have actually used AI too much. And I get euphoria from music. It was the weirdest like confession thing. I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, I use it for, which to me is the most benign possible use case. It's a good research tool if you know how to use it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And for organizing thoughts into like, I guess, a script of sorts.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be one of those instances where he has actually been generating all these scripts and he freaked out because he got accused of something he was doing. But whatever. But that was a kind of telling thing.
But I'm more just like the witch hunt response. And I was on the wrong side of the bet.
Oh my God.
No. I'm not admitting it. Like I haven't seen.
Close the bet.
I haven't lost the bet yet. We haven't seen the political movement. The lunch bet, that $1,000 lunch bet.
Directionally.
I'm getting worried. I am getting worried. I do want to leave with this thought. This episode, before we go to the other side of the paywall, sign up, downaround.net. Maybe you'll be able to subscribe on YouTube. I don't know how that works. yet. I don't know how that works yet, but maybe you can listen to the premium one on YouTube, maybe. Imagine this though, right? So we have algorithmically generated feeds, obviously. And as you just kind of described, the comments on your favorite post are just probably in a few years, if nothing were to change, just filled with indistinguishable from real people.
Yeah, beautiful slop. Beautiful slop. Inspiring slop.
And then, okay, but what if that is personalized to you as well due to the algorithm? Because they have to filter through so much AI slop on everything. They'll be like, well, James would prefer the comment section to be, some red hot debate about some kind of issue. Someone else would rather like one-line gags. And not only is the content that you're seeing like algorithmic generated, even if people see the same content, the comment section is personalized and individualized.
So we get our own generated slop based on what we like to see
within the comments.
Within the comment section. That sounds like like an engine for mass shootings. I'm not going to like fill in the gaps of that process, but I think that's like a mass psychosis. I just
thought I'd leave everyone with that.
It's a beautiful thought. It's a beautiful thought.
We're going to keep riffing other side of the paywall. Stripe. Allegedly
about to buy OpenRouter.
I know we actually mentioned that a week ago offhandedly, but again, about to buy OpenRouter. Interesting conversation. OpenRouter. Interesting conversation. Tokenomics, folks. Tokenomics.
Oh my god! And then who knows what else?